You've got the website. It looks good. It's live. And people, they're visiting. So why aren't they booking in? Most entrepreneurs, they don't realize this. But your website, it's either building trust or it's quietly losing it. This week, our topic is why your website is quietly losing clients. We're breaking down what's actually happening when people land on your site and why they leave without taking action. If you are sending traffic to your website and you're not seeing the results, this is for you. Welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. This is the live for business professionals and entrepreneurs who are looking for a dose of business inspo and ways to leverage the online space. My name is Dee Boswell-Buck, and I am a LinkedIn visibility strategist at Boswell-Buck Creative Consulting. And what we do is we help you to show up as the go-to in your industry on LinkedIn. So I am going to introduce my wonderful guest, and she's here to really dig deep into this topic. Kelley Gibson is the co-founder and director of web development at Inkling Design, where she helps visionary founders turn their inkling into impact through dynamic branding and unforgettable custom online experiences. She loves building websites that help business owners create authentic, lasting connections with their ideal customers. Kelley Gibson, welcome to Strategize Your Business Online. How are you today?
Thanks, Dee. I'm doing great.
So great to have you here. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So first, everybody who's watching, if you are watching live or maybe you're watching the replay, thank you so much for being here. And please go ahead and use the comments, introduce yourself. Let us know the name of your business, share your website, and let us know how it is that you help your target audience. We have a lot of engagement that tends to happen in the comments during and after the live, and you just never know who you're going to meet. So Kelley, I'm going to get you to take the floor. Tell me a little bit more about Inkling Design, who you help, and how you make your clients stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for this opportunity, Dee. I'm excited to connect with you and everybody joining us today. So Inkling Design, as you mentioned, I run with my business partner, Andrea Cronis. And so we partnered up 8 years ago, but we've been working together. I worked with her in a freelance capacity prior to joining her as business partner. So we've actually been working together since 2012. So lots of history in there and lots of projects that we've worked on over the last number of years. We work primarily with service-based businesses or e-commerce businesses. We specialize in building WordPress websites. So we do a lot of work in WordPress, but then also Shopify. Those are kind of our two zones of genius when it comes to the website side of things. Then we also do branding and marketing materials and other graphic design requests. And so we really like to help people bring their full vision to life, and in all those channels, everywhere that can help them connect with their audience, making sure that that journey and that visibility and that brand recognition is consistent across all channels where they might be seeing you, because establishing that consistency can really help build trust, recognition, and revenue, because it can help people remember to go to you when they have something that you might need, or when they have a need for your services. So we work, with a lot of service-based businesses, women-led businesses, and not-for-profits. We really just try to partner with organizations and companies that are really trying to do good in their industry and in the world at large. That's something that lights us up, and we love getting behind other people's missions and seeing them succeed.
Thank you so much for that. So you two have been working since 2012, and you mentioned freelance. So first of all, I just want to say, I didn't even know that. I'm trying to do the math. That's 14 years. And that is so incredible that you two met, you worked on projects. And what happened that you two ended up saying, I like working with you. We should do this together. Let's sign our name to paperwork.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just kind of clicked. We found each other very randomly. Andrea had posted a job ad looking for development support as she was getting more website clients in. And I was looking to pick up some more hours on that freelance side. I just started in web development about 3 years earlier. And we connected and we just aligned so much in our goals, in our interests, in the people we want to serve, and the way we approach projects that it was just always a really natural fit for the two of us. And so Andrea approached me about a partnership 8 years ago, or just over 8 years ago. And it was a no-brainer, I think, for both of us. She said that when she decided she wanted to bring on a partner to kind of help grow the business, that I was the only one who came to mind because we really had this long-term relationship and respect, and it has always just been a really easy process for us. And then, when the opportunity came, it's like I never imagined myself as an entrepreneur. It just wasn't something that wasn't really on my mind. Like, yeah, sure, I freelanced, but never thought about growing a business. And then when that opportunity came, it was like, you know what? Yeah, I love the idea of this. And the best part for me was the fact that Andrea already had this foundation in having a business. And so there was so much I was able to learn from her and rely on her as we kind of stepped into this new partnership territory that she had already been through. So that really helped me in my journey as well.
Awesome. There's a saying that kind of comes to mind. I mean, it's kind of midday for me, so my brain is a little, but I'm going to put it into the comments later when I find it. And I know that there's a quote out there about being able to go further when you're doing it with someone else, but I
Yes.
don't remember the comment right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think there's ever a day that I'm not thankful that I have a partner in this. Like, I'm just so thankful that we have each other to lean on in this journey.
yeah, nice. Well, so we talked about like 2012, and this brings me to my question here. And so websites have been around 2012 and
Hmm.
back, internet launching and things like that. And now we are in the era of social media. And we hear all of these rules when it comes to social media about keeping people on the platform. Your content's not going to do as well when you're sharing a link, and then enter AI. And now we hear so much about people aren't clicking to your website, or it's harder to get people to go to your website. The goal is to show up in AI mode. So my question to you, Kelley, is that are websites obsolete?
Definitely not. And, obviously I have a biased opinion on that, but I really think that even an unbiased side of things, that that's not the case. The first thing that always comes to mind to me when people say this is that journey that TikTok went through recently, where it got banned it ended up only being like a day or a few hours. But people were freaking out because people who had built their businesses on TikTok and they were doing their sales through there and their whole livelihood depended on it, that was being taken away from them without any say in it. And if they hadn't grown their lists, their email list, if they didn't have that website for people to connect with them on, then they lost their audience entirely. And like the panic of that I feel, thankfully, we weren't affected by that. Like, I felt the panic of all the people who were in that boat. And I think that was a real wake up call of like what the importance of your website, that you have this centralized hub that you do control and you can connect with your audience through. So I think social media is a great way to market your product or your service and connect with your audience, build that rapport. But your website's essentially a 24/7 employee that you don't have to pay to work
Mhm.
24/7. It's always there to connect with your audience. So, those leads that you might have warmed up on social media, if they're looking to convert at 3 a.m. because maybe the time zone's different, or maybe they're up late, they're a night owl or they have a child, then your website's there to make it happen. They don't have to wait for you to reply to a DM when you're back online, or to connect through something via one of those channels. You've got this tool that can help convert your audience that you've nurtured in these other areas at any time that they're ready to make that next step.
Yeah, great answer. And I love looking at my Google Analytics.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have workshops and online workshops, in-person workshops. I'm also
Mm.
looking at people to join my offers, and I do share links. I would maybe I'm breaking the rules, folks, but I share links like at least 90% of the time. And I love that my analytics show me that people came from LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever the case is. And I have the payment structure set up on my website. So people need a place to go. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
100%.
to what you talked about, yeah, what you talked about with TikTok going down for about a minute. I used to follow somebody on YouTube, and I really enjoyed her account, and I followed it, and then I stopped. I just kind of forgot about it, and then she
Mhm.
came to mind a couple of years later. And at the time when I followed her, like maybe 8 years ago, huge following. And when I saw her YouTube, I'm like, oh, am I on the right channel? So when I scroll
Mm.
back, I discovered that she shared a video that she woke up one day and her YouTube channel was taken down
Oh,
to this the day of when she filmed that video. She still didn't know what had happened.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I've seen that over and over in our different entrepreneur communities where people have gotten locked out of their their LinkedIn, their Instagram. It's been hacked. They then can't get access to it because you can't get in touch with an actual person. And like the panic that they go through with that because they have so much information there. It's stressful to not have full control over something that is so important to your business.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, what are two biggest reasons why entrepreneurs are potentially losing clients after those visitors have arrived to their websites?
That's a great question. I think that the first one it kind of leads back to that idea of how your socials play into things is that the pace of the world and the pace of social media has made our attention spans a lot shorter. And so when people go to a site, if it is slow or it's confusing, they're going to get out of there. Like we're listening to audiobooks at 2 times the speed. We're speeding through reels because they've got that speed up option now. And, like you have 3 seconds, they say, to capture somebody's attention. So if your site's taking 5 seconds to load, somebody's probably already out of there because they just don't have the patience to sit around and wait for each of the pages to load. Or if it's confusing to find their way, like let's say I just want to book a call with you, but there's nowhere, I can't even find that call or that button to do so. The harder it is for somebody to find something, the more likely it is that you are to lose them. So you just want to make sure that your site is loading quickly and that user journey is really streamlined for that action that somebody's coming to your website to take.
Yeah, that's a really great point because I've seen websites. Like, I think as business owners, we want everybody to know as much about us as possible. Like,
Yes.
you get on my website, choose me, and here's all of the information that you need. And if you
Mhm.
read through this 4 minute read as you're
Yep.
scrolling, like going through websites at 3 a.m. with your young child and things like
Yeah.
that, but if you read this 4 minute, um, I guess like wording about myself, and then
Yeah.
as well, it's like there's no button to book a call, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and that's the
a
thing.
terrible
Like
thing.
it's important to introduce yourself and to have things that build your credibility, but you have to think of it from your user's perspective. Like they might not want to see that first and foremost. So you want to make sure that your site is geared towards what they're looking to do. You want to work on presenting the value of your service or your product. And then if they want to dig deeper to see more of that credibility piece, like if you're maybe providing, let's say you're a nutritionist, so somebody might want to see your credentials, that type of thing. Like that's there for them, but it's not your offer isn't buried underneath presenting all that information to somebody.
Right, right. Is there like other reasons why? I know you mentioned a couple, but is there anything else that comes to mind as well?
As far as what might be losing people on the site, or just
Yeah.
in that slow and confusing side of things?
Like other things that could be one more thing that could be losing people.
Yeah, I would say, you really want to make sure that your mobile experience on your website is locked
Mm,
down. So over 50% of web traffic is coming from mobile devices these days. So maybe your site looks great on desktop, but if it isn't performing well on mobile, if somebody can't tap into your navigation, let's say that's not working properly, or if the buttons aren't working properly on mobile, maybe they're too small to click, maybe the font's too big and they can't read it all, you're going to lose people that way as well. So it's just as important to look at that mobile experience as it is to look at the desktop experience and make sure that that user journey is streamlined for both. Because let's say you have a very image heavy text or site and it works really well on a desktop screen where you have a lot more real estate to work with. But maybe on mobile, all those images are pushing your actual content way down the page. That's not the best. And
mm.
you want to make some adjustments for that mobile experience itself, because you're potentially alienating half or more than half of your audience if you're not addressing issues on that screen size in particular.
Yeah, that brings something to mind, and thank you for sharing that. Because I see websites and I know that they're a little bit dated, and what they've done to update for mobile is that they've taken that desktop experience and then whatever platform they're using, it turns into mobile, but mobile as in, like, I think with mobile, like things are supposed to shift into different areas for a better
Mhm.
experience. And like the menu should be in a certain type of area as well. But I've seen the websites where it just becomes a tiny version that fits onto a mobile app. And
Yeah.
when I see that, and I call it a tiny version, that means everything gets small. The wording
Yeah.
gets small, or
Zooming.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, or when you've got like is it called the hamburger look, the
Yeah.
hamburger menu with three lines,
Yeah.
but it's so tiny that no matter how you're tapping, like nothing will open up.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And then you're like, yeah,
yes,
just get me out of here. I'm going somewhere else.
yeah, I've seen that. Another thing is that I've seen, and maybe you can um, let me know what your thoughts are. I think sometimes there's just like too much information. So when I say like, and that information is probably it's valid to have that on the website,
Mhm.
but I guess the way that sometimes it's all laid out, it's like you're reading so much, or there's so many menu options that you just don't end up knowing where to look. And so, for what your clients are sending you in terms of information, do you help them to kind of like map out a journey ahead of time?
Yeah, so that's we call it, like, that's our information architecture stage. And so we kind of take a look at all the information that they want to include on the site. And maybe they have an idea of the page structure that they want, but we can help guide them on, well, maybe this works better here, or we want to make sure we preview this page here so that it entices somebody to click through to read more, just making it easily available to people. But, going back to how you're mentioning how you really like to look at your analytics, I mean, that's the bread and butter for seeing like where people are interacting with the content. So if we're working with a client who has a website already, we love if they have analytics installed, because it
Mm,
allows us to see kind of how people are using their site, maybe what pages are not getting any traffic at all. It really gives us those insights into what their audience wants and not just what they want to present to their audience.
right. Okay. So everybody who's looking, take a look at your Google Analytics. If you don't have it, it's a free tool by Google that you can add to the back end of your website. And as Kelley was mentioning, there are like so many great things that you can learn from it. And you can even see the pages that people drop off,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
then I guess that'll help you to, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like,
Yeah.
and that's, you're talking about for people who might not have it, if they want to add it. And like, honestly, my biggest advice is whether you think you need it or not, get it on there because it doesn't hurt anything to have it. Sure, you might not look at it, but if in 6 months you're like, oh, I wish I had information on this because I'm going into a launch. Well, guess what? Because you did have it, that information is there, but you can't get any past information once you install it. So, it's better to have it there working in the background in case you ever need it than to wish that it was there or have to start now from zero. Like, let's say you're working with an SEO strategist. Well, if they don't have any metrics, now you have to wait a bit to get a bit like some information on the site before they can really have insights on what your audience is doing. They can have general industry knowledge, but not how people are using your site until that base is built up.
Yeah, and by the time you call in an SEO strategist, you wanted to get started yesterday, and now you
Yeah,
got to wait a few more
exactly.
days or weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for everyone who has a website, what is one thing we can do right now to improve our website visitor experience?
Yeah, so I think the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit there is to just kind of do a very small audit of your site. And by that, I don't mean like getting into the weeds of everything. I'm talking about like from a high level, go through it, test all of your links, test all of your forms, make sure they're submitting properly, and test it on a mobile device. Just go through that experience on your phone and make sure that it looks good. We had one client who they have advertising on their website, and that's a good part of their revenue. They have amazing content that helps really draw people into their site. But they realized one day that they weren't getting submissions from advertisers anymore. And it had been a while since their last one. And sure enough, when I got in there to troubleshoot, there was a deliverability issue with the form. So potential advertisers were filling out this form thinking that it was going through because they weren't getting an error, but it wasn't being received by the company. So you can think about like all the missed opportunities that they had because they hadn't been checking their forms. Now they're in our maintenance program, so that's getting done. But like that's the real opportunity for like where things might be falling through the cracks and you're just not aware of it because you might just think that it's a quiet season and there's not a lot of people reaching out, but actually there could be an issue with that and you're blocking somebody's ability to connect with you or purchase your product.
Ooh, that one is a hot one right there.
Yeah.
That is great too. Excellent. I heard this tip a long time ago, and actually I've said it. I mean, it didn't come from me, and maybe I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna say, "Dee, that's a silly one," but I'm gonna say it. Where it's like if somebody like ask a friend who doesn't like really like know much about your business, and have them take a look at your homepage, and then like look at your homepage for about less than 10 seconds and then shut down the laptop. And if they cannot share like an inkling of what it is that you do, then your homepage was not clear enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Like I love giving that advice to people because, as the business owner, we're so close to our business. Like you said before, there's so much we want to share with people, and there's so much we just know because it's up here that we forget about. Like somebody who's new to our world might not understand that immediately. That's why, like, I love a big bold statement at the top that's kind of like that elevator pitch idea, but like of saying what you do, who you work with. Like, then right off the bat, I can decide if this resonates with me or not, and it's really clear to me what somebody does at that point. So having that unconnected person take a look at it and, like you said, time box it so they're not spending 5 minutes going through your site. Just like, what's their first impression in those first few seconds? Tell me what I do. Tell me what you got from it. It's a great way to just leverage your friends. You don't have to pay somebody for it. Just have some coffee with a friend and
Right.
send your site over. So.
Exactly. And don't be upset if they don't see
Yes.
what you want them to see. Be nice.
They're helping. Yeah.
Yes, they are. And before we move on, I remembered just getting emails to a different email address that I have. And I was like, why are people like, why are spammers or people who are like looking for business and things like that, how are they emailing me at this email address? And what I did, I mean, I think I had some time a couple of years later, but I started like just tapping through all of these buttons. And I found that there was a button or a link that was buried somewhere on my website. And it was just one, and it was taking these people to a different email address where they were just spamming.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
was
it's
something
funny,
that
like
really
when
bad.
little things like that kind of get unearthed for you, you know? It's like, oh, okay, well, there's that's highlighting something I need to address. So
Yeah, yes, for sure. I just want to say hello to Corrine. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're talking about websites, and of course, this leads me to a question that I ask everybody every single week. What is your favorite platform that you use outside of your website to get business to you?
yeah, so I would say that Instagram's our primary channel for connecting with people. But we know that LinkedIn is somewhere that we need to be more. So it's those two channels that we work with most. We're not on TikTok, we're not ex Twitter people. But we find that we really do get that connection with our audience in that LinkedIn and that Instagram side of things. And yeah, I think Instagram was kind of that natural transition for us because I mean, at least for me, like I'd used it personally. So I knew how to use it a bit. And then we worked with it and with a social media strategist, and they helped kind of help us find our footing there. So that gave us that good foundation to kind of build off of. And then same with LinkedIn. It was like somewhere that we knew we needed to grow, but we were just kind of intimidated by all the setup that we needed to do. So then we worked with you, which really helped take that off our plate and like just allowed us to kind of hit the ground running. And it was just such a relief because I think that as business owners, we have so much or so little time to work on all the things. I mean, I've got notebook upon notebook of ideas and things that I want to take a look at, that it's really nice, like when you can rely on somebody who can kind of help set you up there so you can make the most out of that reach in those other platforms. Because I think very often we feel like we need to be experts in every area and every platform that we're on. And that's not the case. You just need to know the basics so you can get out there. And I think, you know, that as we are trying to extend our reach more in the LinkedIn world, it's just really nice to kind of have that foundation and then, you know, remembering that we can leverage content between the platforms. And so it's not
Yeah,
necessarily things as two different areas that we have to come up with content for, that it's just about, um, I guess, like framing it in
work.
ways that best speak to the audience in either place.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that because, and I like to ask that question because often entrepreneurs, we're told to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And even if you're lucky to have like a wonderful business partner, or if you're working on your own, like regardless, we can experience burnout by being everywhere. And I always tell everyone that you want to be where your target audience is, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to be on six
exactly.
different platforms. And of course, yeah, definitely work smart. Like I love Instagram. I said that. I do enjoy Instagram. LinkedIn's the first one for me.
Yeah.
And if you scroll through, you can see that I show up differently, but you'll also see that I do duplicate things because I have like similar. Yes, Kareen, thank you. Repurposing. I
Yeah.
repurpose my content and I may make certain tweaks, but it's all about like using our resources wisely. Yeah.
100%. Like, I feel like, you know, personally, that's somewhere like that repurposing content. It's something that I try to embrace a lot more, not just between the platforms, but I think, again, in your mind as the business owner, whatever you share is so fresh and it's something you've shared before. And you don't think about the fact that somebody who's newer to your world isn't necessarily going through all your older posts. So, like, leveraging and repurposing that content that you've done previously is a great way to be able to find ways to kind of get out there and show yourself, especially if you're somebody like me that's kind of struggles with figuring out how to show up, that you have to remember, just because you said it once, that's not the only time that you can say this thing. There are different ways to say it.
Yeah, and I want to share a secret that I'm kind of letting the secret out, and most people forget about it anyway. Like I love the snow up until a certain point.
Yeah, same.
Like I like the snow. I get excited when I hear about it coming in October, November, and then I'm like out there, say, come February. So I'm in Toronto, Canada, and then I would say like by the end of February, I'm done with it. But every year I share a fun reel that I did. I think it'll be 4 years for this year. Every year I pull it out and I put it onto Instagram, and I just changed it to the most trending music. And it's me, I always share it after we have our first major snowstorm. And everybody, it gets like the best engagement. Hardly anyone remembers it, but I repurpose it because I can't get that great footage again. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So we're going to wrap up. And my question to you, Kelley, is how do your clients feel once they've started working with you at Inkling Design?
I'd say that the thing we hear most is that they just feel relieved, because again, like that overwhelm as a business owner, and you feel like you should DIY everything. And once they connect with us, they feel so relieved that there's somebody guiding them on the process. We're only coming to them when their input's needed on things. We're not necessarily making them micromanage everything, but they can be involved as much as they want to be. But I think the other things is that they feel seen, because we really like listening to our clients is one of the most important things to us. We're not trying to make anybody fit into a preconceived idea that we have, or a certain box to fit a template that we have that we want them to work with. We want to make sure that we're coming up with solutions that fit them and their business. So I think that being seen is something that feels really good for a business owner as well. And then ultimately that they are in full control. So we don't gatekeep anything that we create for them, that we build for them. We make sure that they have full access to everything. And a lot of people come to us and that hasn't been the case before. Like people have come to us like, hey, can we build a new site without trying to connect to this old person I talked to, because they've locked down my thing, or something's gone bad and they've locked something up, or they're unresponsive. And I hate hearing that, because we just want to make sure that people feel like they still have that ownership over a side of their business that they are reaching out for help with. And at no point should you ever feel that you're now a passenger in that process.
Yeah, our business, it's our baby. So
Yeah.
we want to be able to have input. Quick question to add on to that. So when someone gets their website, are they able to like go in and make changes on their own?
Yeah, so that's what we love about working with platforms like WordPress and Shopify, because every project, every build that we do comes with a written user guide and a 1 hour recorded training call. So we go over showing them how to manage the content of their website. And maybe they don't want to do it and they just want help, but they have those tools if they want to refer back to them. Or maybe they hire a VA. Well, now the VA can watch that training video and has that documentation to refer to onboard themselves to it. So yeah, it gives them that ownership over it. And so that, again, we don't want you to have to come to us because you need to change a punctuation mark on something. Like, you should be able to go in there and make that change on your own. We want to, focus your spend on where you need to focus your spend, not on little things that you can be doing yourself if you want to. So yeah, absolutely, they can get in there. We love setting up sites in ways that it's really easy for them to scale their site as they need to, while maintaining that kind of locked in brand and user experience that we have set up. So we build out reusable components that they can easily just plug these in and kind of build out pages as they need to, as their business grows.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I know how to refer you. So before we go, Kelley, I want to thank you so much for saying yes to this live, and also like answering that important question that even though we've got social media and the huge focus on AI, It is so important to have a home base, and that's your website. So I probably mentioned it already, but where can we continue to find out more about what Inkling Design is doing?
Yeah, if you want to connect with us, I feel like with this conversation, it's only appropriate to first mention our website is inklingdesign.ca. So you can visit us there. You can see more about our offers or connect with us to set up a free discovery call. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you. And everybody, I already put all of those into the comments. I will come back right after this live and put in Instagram as well. So thank you again, Kelley, for being here with us today. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you are watching the replay, please put in replay in the comments. We still circle back. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Kelley or Andrea, and you can follow their company page right here on LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Thanks.